You can find me in the streets, even in the drought. My mattress is full, why shouldn't I be out? Hey buddy, I'm good. What they tell you? I'm good. What they tell you? I'm good. What she tell you? I'm good. What you see? $1 jeans with my favorite patch, pulling up my ride. Hell yeah, the rims match. What they tell you? I'm good. What they tell you? I'm good. What they tell you? I'm good. What she tell you? I'm good. What you see? Man, I'm killing it, riding in that brand new, swimming through the streets, looking like I'm Shamu. In that big body, with the wet paint, I got some pocket change from selling wet weight. Today is a good day, ice cubes on my chest, looking at my BlackBerry. Freak hit me on the text, come and beat it up, I just need a minute. You can carry your ass, you ain't gotta lay in it. Yes, niggas don't like it when you're looking good, hate it when you're shining through the neighborhood. Brand new ride, niggas know the time, hoes cut their eyes, we call them samurais. I'm looking fly as I could ever be, a level of success that you could never see. You jealous, man, we in propellers, man, think about it, ain't shit you could tell us, man. In the streets, even in the drought, my mattress is full, why shouldn't I be out? Hey buddy, I'm good. What they tell you? I'm good. What they tell you? I'm good. What she tell you? I'm good. You see $1 jeans with my favorite patch, pulling up my ride. Hell yeah, my rims match. What they tell you? I'm good. What they tell you? I'm good. What they tell you? I'm good. What she tell you? I'm good. What you see? Test it out, ma. Tell me what you see. Order what you want. Hell yeah, it's on me. Don't they tell you I'm good? What they tell you? I'm good. What they tell you? I'm good. What she tell you? I'm good. What you see? Cruising on them 22s got me sitting pretty. You should hear that engine purr. Here, kitty, kitty. Ride through the city. Everybody know me. And the sun is out. It's like it's shining on me.
Ooh, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Morning, family. How y'all doing? Shout out to everybody tuning in. As y'all know, if I got one person listening, I'm cool. Especially at this hour. Especially at this hour when I'm getting up trying to get ready here, man, to go to work. I'm not even in my car yet. Shout out to Pan City African Center Consciousness. What's good with you, man? How you doing? I said Pan City. See how I'm still waking up, bro? It's Port City. What's good with you, man? How you doing? I see you still on there beating up the apples with a righteous stick. Shout out to you, bro. Beating them up good, too. You asking them, hey, man, just show me. Just show me. You know how it go when they can't show you. Shout out to everybody tuning in, man. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Asiatic 777. Bring it down a little bit. Man, it's hard for me to believe and to accept that when I listen to a Clips album, it's 25 years old. It's hard for me to accept that. Like, no, like the Clips, I just have to remind myself, like, wait a minute, man, this album is 25 years old. Hell Have No Fury. Like the Re-Up Gang, I said, damn, it's 25 years old. That album is that old and still sounds that good. The golden age of hip hop. I miss it so much. It's like everything is leading us. The way I hear music now and I see our culture now and what it's become, it seems to me that everything is leading to something. You know what I'm saying? And last night I was going to go live and start talking about propaganda and how it works and how it really affects us and how propaganda can be used against an entire race of people, right? And how Europeans have used propaganda in order to conquer certain people groups. And I was gonna use the Jews as a prime example because Hitler went on a propaganda campaign against them when he was destroying them, right? Ads in the newspaper, speaking about their appearance, talking about their culture, laughing at their culture, having them participate in the destruction of their own culture, right? Adolf Hitler created propaganda campaigns to assassinate the image of the Jew, right? And what you see now today is an assassination of our culture, right? How we speak, how we dress, how we look, how we act, how we talk, how our civil rights are broken in this country, right? Yes, I said broken, how violated in this country. They make fun of that and they make light of that situation. And when somebody's constantly making light of your situation and creating negative images of your situation, you have to then begin question why is our image being attacked? Why was our history attacked? Right? You have to look at it because it's all a campaign to make you look insignificant, right? And remember what I told you guys earlier, that Jews even participated in the assassination of their own culture because at the time they thought it was funny. It's never funny when you turn on YouTube or you turn on Instagram and you see Europeans making fun or white people making fun of you, right? Making fun of the fact that you're black, using it to desecrate your image. It's not funny. It's not funny, and we shouldn't deem it as such. Those things have larger implications that can, those things have larger consequences than you realize. It may seem funny. It may seem funny at the time, but it's quite detrimental if you think about it. And why am I bringing all of this up? I bring it up because I see what's going on in hip hop. I see what's going on our social scenes. I see what's going on overall. And it is one large attack on black culture. In order for whites to be superior, they have to keep someone inferior. Whites are our polar opposite. They are our polar opposite until they apologize publicly for what they did to African people, how they treated our history. They are your polar opposite. You see, you don't see Jewish people forgiving Hitler. You don't see that. So in a way, when I see Tazariot saying some of the things he says, I kind of agree. I don't deal with the hate thing as much, but I deal with I'm going to hold you all accountable. Right? And the problem with all of this is simply the fun we're having laughing at ourselves. I look at rap music, I just see cooning now. I see all out buck dancing. You know, I remember when rap music had some dignity to it, right? And I remember when key figures were being taken out of rap music, um, from the Jermaine Dupri's to the Tony Drapers to the James Princes. My dad, I remember he told me, he said, "That's trouble, boy." He said, "That's trouble." I'm like, "No, ain't no big deal. They didn't handle their business." He said, "No, that's trouble because they playing the same game that everybody else playing. They in the same game everybody else was playing, but they were systematically taken out because the powers that be wanted to take your image and mold it into something that it's really not." And this is why you get all these government agents with tattoos all up and down their face, wearing black masks or baklavas all over the damn internet. The images that are being presupposed upon you are negative images, and it's antithetical to whiteness. Whiteness does not want to see that. So when our children begin to get attacked, and they begin to attack not only the images, but now the people that represent those images, which is you, black man, the public will have would not give a damn about what's going on. That's why media is so important. Sorry about that. And this is why it's so important. And one of their what's the word I want to use? One of their strategies is to always attack the images. Do you guys remember what 10 years ago when every other day they had a police killing on television? I used to tell people these are forms of buck breaking. These are forms of, if we kill the strongest slave and we beat on the strongest slave in front of everyone, the rest of the slaves will get in line. And it seemed like it was a concentrated effort, there's a concentrated effort in doing these things. And what does propaganda attack first? It attacks the youth. And while you're participating in this culture, while you're laughing at this culture, and you got white children laughing at black children and black children laughing with white children, the strategy is being put in place. The medium is now being put in place to destroy young black males and to destroy young black women. With young black males, it's about putting tattoos all over your face and gang banging, because in the 80s and 90s, sagging didn't do enough damage. Sagging your jeans and being in a gang didn't do enough damage. Crack cocaine did not do enough damage to the black community. So now we have to attack their image. And when we attack their image, it'll assassinate a knowledge of self. And through that knowledge of self, they won't want to learn who they really are and what they've accomplished. This is a fact. Everybody want to claim to be woke, 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 woke. They sit on panels for 24 hours talking about damn government politics, and they don't never address what's going on in their very own neighborhoods. Because if they just open their eyes and they would see what's going on the very mediums that they participate on, they would see that they're victims. They would see that they're participating in a propaganda war against black men and black women. All you got to do is look at television. All you got to do is turn on Instagram. You see, somebody said, oh, well, white women twerk too. Yeah, well, white women ain't at the bottom of the pile, are they? Are they? So they can grow out of that and still be white. Remember, it is white versus everything in the United States of America. Think about it. Do y'all really think that immigration is a problem in this country? Or is this just a lead to something more sinister? Ask yourself that. Why is it all of a sudden you get this old man who just wants to sit in office and attack immigration? Immigration is on his mind every single day. He's attacking other nations now. Y'all don't see what's going on. And the problem with all this propaganda and the European versus the minority is simply we participate in it. We start having arguments about Egypt being black. The one thing that you can look at on the walls and say, yep, those are Africans. We know only Africans were traveling up and down the Nile. We see the culture at the beginning of the Nile to the end of the Nile. We see the artifacts. We see everything that points to them being Africans, but they can't be black. I see everybody arguing about shit that happened 8,000 years ago, 7,000 years ago, 6,000 years ago, but they can't be black. Every other indigenous people can look at the culture on their walls, on those walls, and say, yeah, that's us. Every one of them. Every culture does that. Everyone does that. Indians look at their ancient cultures and they say, yeah, that's us. We're the American Indian. They don't play the game of semantics about what is black or what indigenous means. They don't play that game. They understand who those people were and are at that time. And they've been about as whitewashed as anybody in the history of the world. When the last time you seen a red, bronze-colored Indian walking around in the goddamn streets? You don't even see it. But that doesn't take away who they are. They've been essentially wiped out until you go to South and North Dakota, if you've ever been. See, there are no niggas there. Just to let you know, ain't no black people in South and North Dakota and Montana and all these places where whites have taken over. Right? There are none. But they're still able to look at those walls and say, that's us. Yes, this was our ancient cultures. Yes, we were the ones that were here first. Right? Whites will claim Christopher Columbus and give you a Christopher Columbus Day. We did the research on it. We saw him that he was nothing but a bandwagoner rapist, hopping off them boats with swords and all type of weapons, killing, plunging, and raping. He wasn't in a good mood when he saw him. But you, black man, had a history of defending your land. You, black man, had a history of building and creating civilization. And when you see it on the walls and when we claim it, you have people that want to sit up there and push this agenda of they're not black. It's the silliest argument in the world, and we need to get away from it now. Move on from that shit, because you are serving the propaganda machine against your own indigenous cultures. Notice I said cultures. I get it. I get it. Listen, guys, I truly get it. But see, you don't see whites doing that. No matter how bad it was, no matter how destructive it is, they'll look at Christopher Columbus and say he was white. Regardless if he was Spanish, they'll say he was white. Why can't we do the same thing? Because regardless how you feel about it, those were powerful images of black men ruling countries. All the haplogroup, mitochondrial DNA arguments and all that shit, man, that's cute. I get it. But that shit's stupid at the end of the day. Because you're saying the expression of Africans or what Africa is not good enough for you. And you are serving their purpose and you are promoting their propaganda when you make these type of arguments against your people or against indigenous Africans. Only African people traveled up and down the Nile. I could do presentation after presentation after presentation. The haplogroup arguments, the mitochondrial arguments, the E1, AB, C2, 3 arguments, they're silly. Because once you begin to point to that shit, you can point right at your own damn DNA and see that there's a European admixture in there. It's in there. Does that mean you're not black? And the arguments need to change, and we need to take a look at ourselves and see, what are we yelling at each other about on YouTube? Why are we arguing with each other about YouTube, FBA, Abo, Indigenous Americans, Egyptian, Hebrew Israelite? I don't know why anybody's still running around with that shit. I don't know why anybody want to claim some shit that says that they hate Africans, that says that it hates Africans in the damn book that desecrates Africans. I don't know why you would want to read some shit like that to try to make yourself feel good. Now you're servicing Jewish propaganda against African cultures. Don't be so stupid. We're always servicing somebody else's propaganda campaigns against us. Don't be the Don Lemons of the world. Oh, we got to see the whole story. Nigga, you knew the whole story. It's a white guy with a gun capping a brother in the head, killing his ass because he was scared. As a policing officer in the United States of America that enforces policies upon what? Poor people. Keeping rich people safe from poor people. We're going to concentrate you into one area. And if you do manage to get into suburban America, we're going to keep reminding you every day that you're nothing but a nigga. If you do have a chance to bring your children to our school, we're going to have so much propaganda aligned against him. He's going to turn into a Dom Lemon. And he's always going to take the neutral role every time something happens to one of his very own. He's going to service the propaganda machine. You see how this works? See, if they weren't black, if they weren't black, there would not have been such a huge propaganda machine to say that they were white. Ever since little, you saw white pharaohs on the damn wall. And scientifically, you learn that, wait a minute, they can't live in those type of conditions like that comfortably. They can't live in those type of conditions. There's no way they traveled up and down the Nile. There's no way they created this writing system. You begin to understand that through scientific observation and study. You begin to learn the history. And just for the sake of argument, you decided, and people know who I'm talking about, you're going to create a campaign against it and say that they aren't black because they didn't call themselves black. And we're going to create one of the silliest arguments in the world and talk about what Kemet means. It's all propaganda. Just do a live stream with a fucking baklava over your face. Y'all know them things these young kids are wearing? Just do one of those. and argue about the definition of black. See, it's such a stupid fucking argument because it serves another purpose. There's a bigger agenda behind all of this. So while you're sitting on YouTube playing Woketopia and playing like, every facet of government and all this other shit that don't make any sense, you're servicing the propaganda machine. You woketards. Let's start doing things like this. Start putting up your credit score. Let's start talking about enhancing our credit scores. See, because when you enhance your credit score, you're able to get better loans. You can open up private businesses. And in those private businesses, you can start to create generational wealth by providing what? Services. Right? Everybody has an ideal. Remember this, niches lead to riches. What do you like to do? Start talking about that without trying to hustle people. No one's talking like that. Oh, those conversations are boring. We want to talk about Jesus all the time. Chris, go live and talk about Jesus for us. I keep saying I gotta send people books. People been asking me for books. And usually I do it, but I just been so slow to do it. So guys, if I haven't done it, just know that I'm gonna do it, right? I really am. But I've been concentrating on self-improvement at my age now, right? Trying to grow into something else. I promise you, all these brothers arguing about Egypt ain't black, West Africa is white, Europe is Indian, niggas is Cherokees, and all this stupid shit. Tell them put up their credit score with their bank account. Just does it have 2 zeros behind it or 3 zeros behind it? I can do it. I can do it. Why aren't they teaching what a FICO 8 Vantage score is or a FICO 9 Vantage score is? Right? Understanding how those things work. Understanding that if you listen, woketards, that if you sit there and dispute a creditor 9 times out of 10, it's going to be erased. Here, let me teach y'all something. When a portfolio agency buys your debt from a creditor or from the bank that you never paid back, a portfolio agency does not have the right to dispute it because they are not the original lenders. So go and dispute your credit. See, the one thing I learned about reading Who Stole My Cheese, the richest man in Babylon, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, was the trick of the rich is to keep the poor without it. Let me repeat this so you can learn something this morning, Woketopia tards. It's simple. The trick of the rich is to keep the poor without it. You hear the JJ 7000s when they're on air, making a fool of black intellectualism, trying to make fun of black existentialism. Doesn't know what he's talking about. If anybody's in their 40s, you're going to look up and you're going to be in your 50s pretty soon. If anybody is in their 50s that listen, you're going to look up and you're going to be 60. And when you're 60, you're going to look up and you're going to be 80. If you make it past that, most people 60 years old, some of them don't even realize, oh, I only got 12 more years on this earth. It's typically a countdown till you get to the grave. Very critical age to have things in order, ain't it? See, so when you start turning 40 and you go over the age of 45, life is going to slow down. And I can remember the point when I says, wow, I'm talking to somebody that doesn't have common sense, doesn't even understand the system is against you, not for you. You can't take their books. You can't take their methods and apply them to us because it's always been against. Just ask yourself, man, what the fuck am I arguing this for? Them black people on the damn wall. I don't want to argue about the scientific definition or understanding of black. I'm not into that. We know what black is. Every one of our propaganda machines for ourselves has failed because black people did not want to support them. Blacks wanted to be conservative Christians. They wanted to be conservative Catholics. They wanted to be conservative Protestants, but they necessarily wanted to reject, excuse me, they necessarily did not love the idea of what blackness is because it was always assaulted in this country, and rightfully so. They didn't want to be seen as black anymore at certain periods of time. They began to despise it because of their conditions. You see how propaganda is beginning to work? I remember Bobby Hemmett used to say we have what, repressed slave, RSD, was it did he say RSD, repressed slave syndrome? How our conditions lead us to think like this and to act like this? Right? Now I don't believe in such a statement like that. But I do believe that propaganda is a very, very powerful tool. I do believe that. It's a powerful tool because of the images that it promotes. It is what it is. So Egypt's not black, got you. But they are Africans, got you. A child will be confused listening to that argument. Egypt has many different colors. Yeah, of black people. Well, what about Libyans? They're not black. Those were invaders that came there thousands and thousands of years ago. Their DNA traces all the way up to the what, Balkans, across the Mediterranean. So that lets you know sat, they placed themselves there. They ain't got nothing to do with that area at all, at all. Just because they've been there thousands and thousands of years. That don't mean they're indigenous to that land. We don't have to play that game. The loaded question game concerning propaganda. Well, how long do you have to be somewhere in order to be indigenous? I don't know, thousands of years. Well, then they're indigenous. No, they're not. You can't use haplogroups and DNA on one side and then don't want to use it on the other side because you're trying to promote propaganda, woketards. See, it's two sides to a coin, two sides to an argument. And then don't forget, you get the people that want to laugh and want to egg it on. See, remember I was talking about that part. You got people that sit on them panels and say, "Oh yeah, this is an argument I can attach myself to. I'll just be against it, just because it seems like it's the thing to do." I'll sit up here, and I'm not talking about any particular group, but I'll sit up here and attach myself to this argument, and I'll learn certain talking points that I can go on other platforms and use against them. And guess what? When those talk points aren't working and those arguments aren't working in my favor, I'm going to do video after video criticizing somebody when I really don't know what the argument about is about in the first place. And every time I show up after I've developed some clout for myself, I'm just going to have a whole crash out session because I don't understand what I'm really talking about. I haven't read any books on the matter. And every time somebody asks me for my methodology or what I'm studying, I can just crash out and promote the propaganda machine that Black people are inherently ignorant and don't know how to have an intellectual conversation. And I'll tease the person for how well he's able to articulate his arguments against a stance that I truly don't understand because I just want clout for my own channel. Woketards. Now, the woketard is the person that actually reads and studies. See, woketards have to read and study because they're so-called quote unquote woke. They they kind of support the propaganda machine, right? But then they're against it, right? It's certain arguments they want to keep, right? That gives them some type of validity. They know who they are, right? Those are woketards, right? Woketopians, Woketopians, the Woketopians are the Umar Johnsons. He's a Woketopian, right? He's from Woketopia. You see, the woketards are the ones that say, you know what, I agree with him. I agree with what he says, but I disagree with his actions. All right? Those are the woketards. I'm responsible for being a woketard, right? I am. Because we all have serviced this propaganda machine against Black images. When you yell and fight and cuss, you're a woketard. Face it. You're servicing, guess what? The propaganda machine, because other woketards are creating arguments that make absolutely no sense. So it's just a bunch of woketards and woketopians. Instead of just reading and saying, hey man, here's my source for this. Check this out. I tell people that all the time. If you just say, hey, this is the book I read. What y'all think about this? Oh, now we have a conversation. Now we opening up the book live on air. Now we're reading it. Now that scares propaganda machine, because propaganda machine is saying, oh shit, they're reading. Holy fuck. They're not supposed to do that. They're supposed to argue over the cover of the book because we put a black face on there. They're not supposed to be reading this. What is going on? So woketards are trying to wake up from their deep sleep. See, a woketard is like a zombie, right? He just running around. I'm gonna go live today and I'm gonna talk. See, woketards, like I said, they're like Night of the Living Dead. You see them on YouTube channels all day long. You can turn it on Friday, look at any channel. I can name drop if I want to. And you'll look up and say, man, it's Sunday and he's still on here. That Avatar ain't took a shower and he probably ain't took a shower either. Because he been on there for 48 hours straight talking Woketardia shit. So you got Woketardia, that's the city in the country of Woketopia. And the Woketardians and the Woketopians. What's best for black people arguments. And the woketards participate in these arguments, and the Woketopians benefit from these arguments because the Woketopian, he's becoming more and more popular because he implemented it. It's all propaganda. He implemented this argument. He created this argument. I'm going to build something for the Woketardians. And I'm going to speak so electric. There's nothing different about Umar than it was from Polite, outside of the pedophilia that Polite participated in. Criminal behavior is criminal behavior. See, the Woketopian, he can create something and get you to see it. Woketopia, land of the free, home of the woketards. Right? He's going to get you to see a vision. And in this vision, he's going to think, you're going to think that you exist in his vision. You only exist in the form of a Cash App donation to the Woketopian. Because he's giving you an image of something that you want to attain for not just yourself, but for a people. See, it's all a form of capitalism. He has to take advantage of the system because the Woketopian wants to make Woketopia work for himself. He loves the system, but he masks it with black. And all the little Woketardians, that's a mixture of a woke and retards, we all follow and we all argue behind the supreme Woketopian. All of our arguments are centered around that person. You see how this breaks down? And meanwhile, the European propaganda machine sits atop, laughing at everybody that's saying that they're awake. And you know what? You heard what Mr. Trump said out of his own mouth. He said the woke age is dead. You see? He can say, you know, F all this shit. I'm the propaganda machine. I'm from Propagandia. And we control you woketards with the propaganda that we've given you. And y'all argue over it. And 80% of you haven't even read it, nor understand it. But you'll sit there all night and argue on YouTube. That's why you guys haven't seen me live a lot. Last time I went live, there was a Woketardian that couldn't even have a conversation because he was full of gin and juice. And told you all he was drunk. But see, he wanted to take other people's arguments and use them against me, and he didn't even understand how to wield that sword. See, somebody from Woketardia, he doesn't know how to swing a sword, right? He doesn't know how. He hasn't been educated on it. He's only used to using his primitive weapons. Jumping up and down and squealing like a monkey, yelling at everybody who doesn't agree with him. When all you're asking is, what is the definition of that? And because he doesn't understand definitions and how definitions work, definitions only help. Listen to this. Listen to this, Woketardia. Listen to this. Definitions help define the conversation. They give function to what it is that you're speaking about. So the person, the other Woketardian, can listen to you. That's what definitions are for. That's how definitions work. Why do people get upset about definitions? Well, I like to define it. No, I need to know how the woke encyclopedia defines it. We got to find that out. That's important. Hey, Minty. You want to give me the woke, what was that? The Woketopia encyclopedia. I didn't ask you for the definition. I said, what is the definition of it? Oh no, we don't read Webster's. We don't read New Worlds. I'm going to create my own definition because I'm really trying to make this argument circular. And as long as I can make this argument circular, I can always run back to the president of Woketopia and go look at YouTube and go listen to some of his arguments and present it to the rest of the woketards or woketardians and make myself look smart. Meanwhile, President Propaganda is sitting back. Check them out. It's working. That's all they say. Check it out. It's working. Y'all remember that episode in the Boondocks when Huey showed up like, Ronald Reagan hates Africa, kills black people, and is worse than the devil. And all the rich people was doing like this. He's so cute. That's all woketardians do is complain. I'm Woketopian to get out here and do some work. Don't get that twisted. But he has his own agenda. He has his own agenda. His agenda is not for the people. His agenda is, how can I get $1 from the woketards? Africa Black Chaos. I'm confused because the word woke meant to be aware of the bullshit all around us. That's what I was, I think you meant to say taught since the 70s. This new woke shit, I don't know about. Neither do I, brother. That's why I say these guys are not really woke. They're woketardians or woketards. See, we old folk, Africa Black Chaos. We old. Me and you old. We know what it meant, right? But now woke has become a sport. I didn't know consciousness was a sport. Minty says woke is a subjective label. It has no meaning. See, I can agree with all of these because I don't want to live in Woketopia. I don't want to be a Woketardian. I don't want to serve president propaganda. When did we stop pushing our own culture? When did we stop promoting our own culture? Why do we look at our own culture as disposable? Didn't you guys hear how I started it off? I was playing the Clips album, Till the Casket Drops. It had the song on it, I'm Doing Good. That album is over 25 years old. But I know woketards that say, oh, the Clips wasn't even that good. You know, the woketards want to get ready to argue. Outkast was overrated. Woketards want to argue. What? Huh? We ain't even dealing with that right now. It's 47 people in the chat because everybody's awoke, getting ready to go to work. And there's a woke tard listening in here. Oh, I'm gonna replay this. I'm gonna let everybody hear what Chris got to say. He talking about such and such. I'm not talking about anybody. Egypt was black. Kemet meant black. There it is. I'm not serving the propaganda machine. It ain't an argument. It's not. It's really not. It can't be an argument. If they looked at the images of Nubians on the wall, they would say Kemet knew or Kemet knew. Right? I don't know the guttural context or the guttural sound of their words. They're not necessarily here to speak it anymore. So I don't know how it sounded. Honestly, I don't. I'm not a linguist. I said linguist. Thinking about some linguini, excuse me. Linguist. I'm not that. I don't pretend to be. I get my information through facsimile, and if I'm arguing, I say, here's a presentation on it. Or before a debate, hey man, look, man, I don't do linguistics. I'm not understanding linguistics, so there's really no debate there. See, President Propaganda got you arguing over an ancient civilization that you built. President Propaganda got you sitting up there saying aliens built the damn pyramids, you woke tards. Well, we fought pyramids everywhere. Oh, what a woke tardian response. That means black people were over here. The Olmecs. Okay, woke tardian. Did you know that a pyramid was the easiest structure to build at that time? We did not necessarily know how to build straight going up. So they built it in a pyramid because they were working at a slant. That way you can climb up and go down, climb up and go down, climb up and go down. until you reached a tip. It's simple. Woketard. Public enemy number one. My grandma said we an engine. Guys, I got to get ready to go to work. I got a morning production meeting that I got to go to, and I got to be awoke in that thing. I've enjoyed giving y'all this message today. Stop serving the propaganda machine. Read the book itself. Please go read that book itself. Whatever somebody's reading to you, ask or telling you, just say, hey, you got a source for that? Let me read that for myself. I'm not familiar with that. You don't have to turn into a Woketardian and argue with something that just because you don't like what you hear. Hey man, what book did you get that from? Where are you getting that hypothesis from? Let me read some of the material that you're reading. Because I've read everything from D.M. Murdoch all the way to Zechariah Stitchin, right? All the way back to Tony Evans' Kingdom Man book. I've read all that shit. Right? I've read all of that. I read all of that work. Autobiography of Malcolm X. Before the movie came out, I read the book. That's why I thought the movie was so great. It followed the book precisely. Go on a Woketard's channel and bring a book with you. Hey, I just want to read this. How you feel about this? And listen to their response. Just go listen to it. And then ask them, have you read it? Then why are you responding to it? Because the correct answer should have been, I've never read that. I'm going to check that out. That's a responsible answer. Nook says, I hate it when they credit that land to Arabs and Euros. Yeah, me too. Chris really going to a powwow. Nah, not really. Damn, I wish this was longer. This is a good subject. Them woke tards are going to get a long ass MFK. All right. Can't stand these blackologists thinking every civilization started off black. I don't understand that one. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay, I see what you're saying. Stay woke, man. Minty, you silly. Woketardia forever.